All right. Now, with Magistrate Lawrence's orders back on the 9th of February 23, the informant is to provide all notes and other documents produced by police officers and PSOs, including internal and external communication, by 4 p.m. on the 28th of February 2023. In relation to proceedings and proceeding number, there's been redacted material provided. Okay. The order doesn't say, for instance, subject to redaction. Not, for instance, the order simply doesn't say, subject to redaction. It's come to Mr. Kuxel in a heavily redacted form. And as the parties are aware, I have sought and received the unredacted version. I am staggered at some of the redactions, for instance, and I don't think that this is going to be part of a claim of public interest immunity somehow. It is redacted, and Mr. Kuxel, you can follow this with the open affidavit.
Thank you, Your Honor.
If we go to page 508 of the materials. As an example, here is the open affidavit. We have, official sensitive. See that, and below it. It's redacted. I know there's been a change of counsel. So don't please take this as any way.
508 of the
508 of the open affidavit. Of the notes on the open affidavit. If you go and look at the notes. Page 508 of the notes.
Yes, got that. And then the redaction under it. Is that what Your Honor is talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, I understand.
There's absolutely no basis to redact that.
Well, Your Honor, my instructions, if I can indicate, I just got this brief.
I know.
I sought new instructions.
I know that you're not counsel that was previously involved.
And it was gone through each and every page to seek new instructions.
Yeah.
The instruction in relation to what Your Honor is looking at.
Yeah.
Is relevance, but
that's not the point, to redact parts of the document, okay? It is as if whoever was doing it decided it would be a good idea to create as much trouble for everyone as they possibly could. Okay? I spent 2 hours going through the documents to work out where there were proper redactions. Email footers is not proper redactions, okay? It just creates the impression for Mr. Kuxel and myself that there is material there that may be of some relevance. And then quite rightly, Mr. Kuxel says, look, here's been an incredible amount of redaction, thinking that there's material there that might be significant, and there is material that's redacted, that's significant, along with all this irrelevant material. So,
I take your point on those, Your Honor. I sought instructions, and that's what was instructed.
Yeah. All right.
Well, on all the ones that are like that, there are a number of documents that are of that ilk.
It's ridiculous.
Documents.
It is ridiculous because the order was not. The order on its face is to produce those documents, right? So, unless they are the subject, okay, produced by including communication, blah blah blah, in relation to the proceedings, right? Nothing about, as you might decide what is and isn't relevant, okay. Not you. VGSO. Unless there's a claim for public interest immunity or some sort of confidentiality claim, like phone numbers and the like, and they've got no issue with that. There has to be a proper basis for redaction. It isn't simply a matter for the informant or VGSO to decide. Oh? We think that's relevant or we think that's not relevant. Okay? I find it quite simply mind-boggling that after everything that's happened with the Royal Commission, VGSO thinks it's a good idea to simply redact as much of the material as it possibly can. It would seem, for the sake of it. So, let me go through. And I'm going to rule on this material. Unless you wish to make submissions, I'm going to give you the opportunity, of course, yeah. All right.
Mr. Kuxel is aware of what I'm looking at. It's a matter of my own preparation rather than.
Yes. No. That's okay. It's an absolute waste of time. For no good reason whatsoever.
I'm happy to go through page by page.
Yeah. Okay, well.
Redactions page by page.
Let's put them into categories, right? Let's have the.
Mind if, Your Honor, if I sit down given, I'm.
No, sit down. Sit down. All right. Okay, now, let's. Should probably start at the start, actually, rather than getting all excited about it. I think the first of the redactions going on the open affidavit, so Mr. Kuxel can follow, is page 14. All right, so I rule that page 14 on the open affidavit can be redacted. Page 16, it's an unrelated matter, not related to Mr. Kuxel. So, I rule that can be redacted. Page 30 is an unrelated matter, not related in any way to Mr. Kuxel, and I rule that can be redacted, right? In my view, page 35 should not be redacted, and I am extremely surprised it has been redacted. Nor should page 36. But I'll leave it to VGSO to consider that and make submissions if they wish.
May I know what the...
At this stage, not. But it might well be Mr. Kuxel, that I'm just basically, at the moment, going through all the material that I think is so ridiculous that it should just simply never have been redacted and sifting the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. Okay? All right. Page 41 to 43, in my view, should be redacted.
Is that also?
That relates, I think it's obvious from the document, Mr. Kuxel, that it relates to you, so you might want to make submissions to me in relation to it, all right.
What's the basis of the redaction, Your Honor?
The basis of the redaction is it doesn't relate to the case, because that's the order. But I'll let you make submissions to me. All right. I just want to clear the...
After 43, we go to 93.
Yes, we go to 93. Okay. So, again, this is something I don't think should be redacted.
What is it, Your Honor?
Well, at the moment, I don't have my... I need to go get my... I didn't put it down onto the... So, what I might do... So, I'm going to have to go off the bench. And I've just realized I was working off the iPad with the open affidavit and the unredacted. But I haven't put it unredacted onto the iPad. I've got it on the computer in Chambers.
And Your Honor, I can see 47, 48, 49 are redacted.
Yeah. I'll let you address me in a moment, Mr. Kuxel. I'm just trying to slog through this. Okay? In fact, what I'll do is this, I'm going to indicate to the VGSO, and what I would like is... What I'd like is a concession, but I think I've ruled on it anyway.
I'm happy to take instructions on the matters, Your Honor.
Yeah, well, if the VGSO redacted and...
Then we might not have a debate.
The VGSO want to tell me how important it is to redact email footers. Then someone can make a submission to the incredible public interest that... And can I note this? Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So, it's not even consistent throughout the document. Yeah, I know you do. I know you do. So, email footers to the point that I can see. And they should just go, because simply for the reason that then Mr. Kuxel can see what is actually there and that it is not relevant.
Yes.
Because it is unfair to an accused person to create an impression that there might be something that is relevant or might bear on them when it's actually nothing. And can I say with deliberate sarcasm, it was good to see that the blank pages stopped being redacted. But anyway, page 411 email, footer page 400. All right, you might want to write this down. For 11, email footer, 412, email footer, 414, email footer, 420, email footer, 473, 476, email footer, 479, email footer, 482 to 483, email footer, 485, email footer footer, 486, email footer, 487, email footer, 488, email footer, page 489, email footer, and 508, email footer. So, they should all be checked, and what I would like is the position of the VGSO in relation to that. I hope that there's also been a reconsideration in relation to some of the matters that are said, simply that they should be redacted because of relevance as to whether there's actually a PII claim. Can I say that as well? Having looked at...
I'll take the point, Your Honor. I'll seek instructions again. I sought instructions on whether some should be a PI. I claim, and I'll seek new instructions.
Yeah? Yeah, all right. Okay. I'll be back in about 10 minutes.
All stand, please.
Your Honor, we've tried to contact him. He is presenting a course.
He is presenting a course.
The other person who's giving advice is not available, is on leave.
To get a concession as to, I'll just keep going. I'll just rule.
I haven't got instructions yet. The person I spoke to had no knowledge of this matter at all.
Yeah?
I'm just waiting for the person who has knowledge of the matter to be contacted on the specific issue.
Of what? The email. All right, well.
May I?
Yes, Mr. Cooksall, but I think you'll just impede things because I'm about to just rule that you can have those documents and we'll keep going.
Thank you. I simply wanted to point out that I have authority, which points out that the police should not be making the claim by themselves, and it's really the responsibility of either the VGSO or the OPP.
As I understand it, VGSO looked at it, although it would appear without the dose of common sense that one would hope would be applied to matters like this. Anyway, I might be wrong. Maybe there was a great amount of common sense in redacting email footers. All right, so in relation to the redaction of the various email footers, and for the avoidance of doubt, referring to the redactions at pages 411, 412, 414, 420, and 473 to 476, 479, 482, to 483, 485, 486 to 487, 488, and 489, 508, I rule that there is no proper basis whatsoever for the redaction of parts of the document which are otherwise relevant and have been produced. Certainly not on the basis that those parts simply contain email footers. I find it utterly ridiculous. So, that's my ruling in relation to those parts. All right. Now, I also rule in relation to pages 14, 16, 30, having looked at those unredacted versions, they are completely unrelated and their redactions are appropriate. All right, so turning now to page 35.
I'd like to seek further instruction in relation to those.
Yeah. It seems my preliminary view is that I have absolutely no idea why that would be redacted. Seems to fall clearly within the purview of the order of Magistrate Lawrence. All right, pages 35 to 36, VGSO to take instructions. Preliminary.
Still relevance, Your Honor.
Seems to be. All right, pages 41 to 44, they relate to other matters involving Mr. Cooksall. Mr. Cooksall can make submissions in relation to that, with me at a later time, as in today, because of the other matters that fall within that, all right. That then gets us to page 93.
Also 47, 48, 49.
47 to 49, no issue with the redaction of. Well, why should they be redacted? What proper basis is there to redact identifying numbers from the document? It's a document that clearly falls within the purview of Magistrate Lawrence's ruling. Is that PII claimed? Yeah, 46, 47, 48, 49.
My instructions. The instructions are, they are internal police numbers and they're not relevant.
Well, I'm against you. They relate to, the order has not been to produce such of the material that the VGSO considers to be relevant. The order, and we'll go back to it, is to produce all notes and other documents produced by police officers and PSOs, including internal and external communication, in relation to the proceedings. Clearly, this is a leap report in relation to the incident. So, what proper basis is there to get rid of the numbers that identified the report? May be able to assist following through in the materials. Again, I find it incredible that this attitude is taken after the Royal Commission. But anyway, VGSO wants to waste everyone's time like this, then we'll do it. In relation to pages 46 to 50, I rule that it shouldn't be redacted. You're taking notes, Mr. Cooksall?
Yes, Your Honor, I am. Thank you.
I'm not. Yeah, just wanting you to, so you can. All right, now.
Page 51 is the attendance summary.
Yeah. The same argument, is it? Yeah. All right, well, I'm against you in relation to that. There'll be no redaction in relation to that. Seems to be that there's belief that there should be some sort of culture of secrecy involved with investigations and the like, just for the sake of it. Unfortunately, that sort of culture of secrecy has led to serious miscarriages of justice. All right, now we go to page 93. The entire page is blacked out. I'll go to the unredacted. What proper basis is there for this not to be provided? Yeah, I don't want to hear it's an internal Victoria Police document. Because that's the order of Magistrate Lawrence.
I might need to get an instruction on that, Your Honor. It might be a different objection that hasn't been made yet.
Right, so that's 93. Page 93, VGSO to get instructions. Okay. What would be the basis in relation to the redaction of page 101? Yeah, the top of the page. Having look at the unredacted version.
I am.
Yeah, what's the basis? People are entitled to know about document numbers and the like and incident numbers so that they can follow what document is relevant to what. Again, this is just a culture of secrecy type redaction. Doesn't? I know these are your instructions, but that doesn't answer the issue. They are all internal police documents. There's nothing magic about saying they are internal police documents. The entire investigation is a Victorian police investigation. What's the position?
So, all of the numbers, my instructions were relevant. I hear what Your Honor said.
Yeah.
But the Disclosure Management Unit are lawyers. They are providing me instructions as the client.
Yeah, I know, you're stuck with your instructions.
I am stuck with those instructions.
I rule that's not to be redacted. I rule on the basis it is clearly relevant when it relates to the actual incident. Okay. What possible basis is there to redact page 103? Have a look at the unredacted version.
I've got notes on that, Your Honor. In new instructions, Your Honor, leave those saved for personal numbers to be redacted. Personal identifiers to be redacted pursuant to 186.
No personal identifiers.
Phone numbers and...
No, page 103. Am I missing something?
I might be able to get the...
Page 103 of the document.
That can be disclosed, Your Honor.
All right. It should be disclosed by agreement. Page 103, 104, well, what's the basis to disclose? To redact that?
An argument, Your Honor is not going to accept, that they're administrative emails.
Sorry, an argument I'm not going to accept.
They're administrative emails that are not relevant. That's the basis of all of the redactions between emails of this line between police, prosecutors, and the informants.
All right, well, that's part of the... It all relates to the conduct of the investigation and prosecution, so they fall within the orders of Magistrate Lawrence. Unless there's a public interest immunity claim, then there doesn't seem to be any basis that they be excluded. So, I'm going to order that it be disclosed, page 104.
Your Honor again, subject to the 186 personal email addresses and the...
I don't think that.
Number?
Yeah. Okay. Order to be disclosed the number, the officer's number can be redacted. All right, page 105.
105 to 111 are out-of-office emails.
There you go. You just disclosed them, you just waived it. So, page 100 and page 105 to 111 are, as has been disclosed, out-of-office emails, no basis that they be redacted because one of the issues is this, and the authorities say that it's not for the prosecution really to determine what is and isn't relevant because they might not know what is and isn't relevant. One issue might be, for instance, an argument as to the conduct of the prosecution and whether it's been dilatory, whether statements have been obtained when they need to be obtained, etc. Now, all of that then covers, quote, unquote, internal administrative communications within Victoria Police in relation to the matter, and they shouldn't be redacted. Whoever dealt with this in the first place needs to really look back over. I'm not being critical of the informant. The reality is this, police officers are put in a position where they then rely upon VGSO, and if they are told that they should redact everything, they end up redacting everything. So, pages 105 to 111, I rule to be disclosed, not to be redacted. Subject to 186. But again, not getting rid of names because names are relevant. For instance, so-and-so had an email and such might be.
But the email address and the phone numbers.
Email address doesn't come up, though.
Some of them do, Your Honor, some don't.
I haven't seen any of the Oh, yeah, okay. Yep, all right.
Some do, some don't.
Yeah, that's fair enough. All right, I'll. Subject to that. Subject to that ruling. What's the position in relation to page 112? Is there a claim of public interest immunity?
Your Honor, I haven't taken any instruction on that. If I can take further instruction.
Yeah, all right. VGSO to take instructions. All right, 116 to 117. Again, what proper basis is there to redact these documents? They relate to this matter. They relate to the conduct of this matter. They also relate to material that is requested to be provided. Surely they are relevant and surely they shouldn't be redacted. It's an administrative document that's internal to Victoria Police. I rule that it be disclosed. Page 116 to 117.
Subject to the 186.
Subject to 186. Everything will be subject to 186. Let me say this. Anything that I rule to be disclosed is subject to the 186 exceptions, but not related to names or positions within Victoria Police prosecutions that's not to be redacted, simply their email or
It's emails.
mobile phone numbers.
Mobile phone numbers. Yes, Your Honor. All right. Next is 127 to 1.
Well, I've got 118 and 119. I think that was all part of that same tranche.
Yes. I've got 116 to 119.
Yeah. All right, so 119. 116 to 119 is to be disclosed. All right, we've covered page 127. I've got
The 127 to 134 in a bundle. 130 and 132 were lifted.
134 and 1. Okay, 127.
134?
Let me just see the unredacted version. I was looking at the unredacted version again.
Your Honor, generated emails.
So, what? So, what? Is there some? Look, you're in a very difficult position because on my assessment, you're bound by your instructions. So, please, in no way take this.
I'm not, Your Honor.
But the fact that there is an email generated automatically doesn't somehow render it irrelevant or should be redacted. So, for instance, an out-of-office email may reflect that a person, the fact that, say an informant was not available and wasn't conducting the investigation because they were away, there's nothing that magically means that that should be redacted. So, all of the. Actually, we'll just go through. So, 127, 129, 131, 133, and this is highly relevant because it relates to the CCTV footage. 127, 129, 131, 133 will all be unredacted. The redactions at page 135. I don't consider in any way to be relevant. So, they can remain redacted.
135 to remain.
135 to 136.
Sorry,
Mr. Cooksall, you want to address me in relation to it?
I don't know what they are, Your Honor.
I don't think there's any magic in it. They relate to the taking of fingerprints. I just don't see it's relevant in any way to anything.
But would they not?
Not relying on fingerprints in relation to Mr. Cooksall, in relation to this case. No? So, it's not relevant. I just don't see it in any way as relevant. I mean, it's not a question of just every single possible document being produced for the sake of it. All right? It has to have some potential relation to something. All right? It has to be common sense on both sides. All right? Page 137. Why shouldn't that be? Again, why shouldn't that be produced?
The instructions I have is to maintain that the custody status isn't relevant to the case.
Yeah, but there was an interview conducted, was there not, Mr. Cooksall? There was an interview conducted?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah,
It was quite problematic.
yeah. The point is this. So, footage in relation to the fact that there's been footage obtained in relation, surrounding the interview, that might be the most relevant thing in a case there is. I mean, it's extraordinary. Anyway, all right, again, it's not aimed at counsel, it's aimed at the VGSO. All right, I rule that's to be unredacted. Okay, page 138 and 139, again, that relates to the conduct of the prosecution in relation to the matter. Is the objection maintained?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, well, I rule against you to be unredacted, noting that there's no claim of public interest immunity. Just a general sort of claim, it seems. All right, pages 141, 142, 143, they're in the same boat. They'll be ordered that they be unredacted. 145 and 146 to be unredacted. 157, how is that not relevant? I've got a note. Who redacted this exclamation mark?
My instructions are relevant.
Relates to the incident. It's an email from the informant in relation to the incident. How can it not be relevant? Anyway, I'll say this today because otherwise it might seem it's a personal attack.
Your Honor, I've taken an instruction on each and every redaction asking for clarification. Yeah, but I'm not taking it personally.
Yeah, good. All right. Page 157 is clearly within the orders of Magistrate Lawrence. It clearly should never have been redacted, and I order that it be disclosed. Subject to anything. Removal of any personal details that does not include incident and sub-incident numbers. All right. 158 to 159, you want to get instructions in relation to that.
All right. That has been sought. That's the document that was actually PII has been sought.
Oh, that's the PII document.
That's the one that was sought.
I'm going on the basis of the unredacted version, but I can see on the redacted version it's in whatever color it was given. We'll get to that. All right. That's a different matter. Okay. Matter. Okay. All right.
159.
Yeah. 159 to 160. You wanting to get instructions on that?
158 and 159 PII is claimed. 160 I'd like to seek new instructions.
Yeah, I would have thought.
Also 159, only the first few. There's a part of 159 which is black.
Yeah, I know that's what the second half of 159 to 160. I think that's what was meant. All right. Instructions to be obtained. Okay, 162, I'm assuming you're going to maintain. I'll rephrase it, the VGSO maintain their objection.
It's black.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, Your Honor.
All related to the investigation and obtaining documents.
Yes.
It's clearly relevant to, falls within the orders of Magistrate Lawrence, and it's clearly potentially relevant. So, I order that that be disclosed. It's the same with page 163 and 164. All of these are subject to, of course, the redaction of personal phone numbers, email addresses, etc. All right, 165. I couldn't make any sense of this.
Yes. Not to do with this matter.
Yep, all right, page 165. I mean, even if it was, it doesn't actually say anything at all.
No, it's no content.
All right. That's to be redacted. The basis doesn't relate to the matter. Well, hang on. Yes, okay, I agree with you now, looking at it. Look at the top part. Yes, okay.
Yes, okay, it is in relation to another matter.
Yeah.
Another matter relating to Mr. Cooksall.
Yes.
It has to be. All right. Mr. Cooksall is going to no doubt want to address me in relation to that. You need to get instructions as to whether there's a PII claim if it relates to another matter.
I will take instructions on it, Your Honor.
Yeah, all right. 166 to 167, again, seems to relate specifically to this matter and conduct of the prosecution and various documents or video. Actually, I should say. Indeed. So, I'm going to order that that be unredacted. 168, 169 same position, order that it be unredacted. Why should 171 be unredacted?
Sorry, Your Honor, I missed that one.
Why should 171 be unredacted? Sorry, rephrase that. Why should it be redacted?
Can I seek instruction on that, Your Honor?
All right. And there doesn't seem to be any proper basis for 174 to be redacted, seems to relate to this matter and issues in process, so that's to be unredacted. So, in relation to 175, anything relating to the issuing of charges, the decision to issue charges, the timing of the issuing of charges, etc., it's all potentially relevant. Why should page 176 to 183 be redacted? It relates to this matter, does it not? Sorry. Pages 176 to 183. It's addressed to the informant, isn't it? In relation to this matter? Is it because it's an automatically generated email that it's got some magic status?
Double checking that there's not anything in that. It's police procedure.
Yeah. Let me know if I was in Mr. Cooksall's position and I wanted to take issue with, for instance, the chasing up witnesses, etc., that's something that I might rely upon that document and cross-examine the informant in relation to that document. Not saying that there'd be any basis to do so other than hypothetical, but it's there. All right. A rule that pages 176 to 183 be unredacted, disclosed. Page 187 clearly relates to this matter, the investigation and prosecution, and the availability and length of body-worn camera footage. So, it's going to be disclosed. Should never have been redacted in the first place. It's clearly within the orders. Page 188 falls, albeit rather more obliquely, into the same category, should be disclosed. I so order. Page 188 through to 190 relates to the prosecution of this matter. It falls within the order of Magistrate Lawrence and should be disclosed and not redacted. Page 191 and page 192, same position. That should be disclosed, not redacted. 193 again relates to the prosecution of the matter. An awareness as to actions that are required in relation to the prosecution and obtaining of material falls within the orders of Magistrate Lawrence and should not be redacted. I so order that it be disclosed. 194 to 207 falls into that exact same category and I order it be disclosed. All right, 217 and 219. All right, Mr. Cooksall, if that gives you some comfort. There actually isn't anything there. There's literally just the continuation of the blue line. All right, so just simply to confirm for Mr. Cooksall that there's nothing there, I order that it be unredacted. All right. 217 to 219 relates to the investigation in relation to this matter and the obtaining of footage in relation to the circumstance. The circumstances surrounding the interview should never have been redacted in the order that had been disclosed. All right, we now get to 220 to 228. Do you want to get instructions?
It's 220 to 237. It's really the same category.
Well, I think we'll break 220 to 228 is the first group which VGSO to get the instructions. I thought 229 related to a totally different person, but I might be wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, do you want to check with the informant? I don't know. Yeah. I don't think you want to have this matter related to you, Mr. Cooksall.
I trust, Your Honor.
Yeah. All right. So, that'll stay redacted. All right. Then we have 230 to 256. That seems to me to be something that you'd be taking instructions on.
So, PII.
I suspect that there may or may not be. I'm not sure. Again, it surprises me that someone could read through all this material, decide that there's a PII claim in relation to one part of it, but not other parts. All right, 258 to 270. And 270 to 271, same position, isn't it? 258 to 270 and then 270 to 271. Yeah.
They're the same category of
258.
258 to 270 and 270 to 271, I think would be matters that I think it'd be remiss of me not to raise with the VGSO that they've got a potential PII claim and seek clarification. All right, 275 to 277. 270 to 274 all right. You'll get instructions. Get back to me in relation to that. 275 to 277, this relates to disclosure, the obligations of disclosure. So, that shouldn't be redacted discussion about disclosure. 275 to 277, my order be disclosed again, falling within Magistrate Lawrence's orders and should have been the sort of matter that's disclosed even without the orders. All right. Now, 278.
Got the note. 275 to disclose.
275 to 277. 275 to 277, and then I was close.
And then to 178.
I was not going to 278 and haven't got to that yet. Hang on. So, 278, let me just go to the, all right. Now. Okay. At the moment, the first half of 278 has been disclosed.
That's right.
All right. Now the second half of 278 going on to 279 is a group email. I mean, there's no magic in this. I don't think that there's no PII claim. It's just a question of relevance.
That's the basis of all of the contests. The email that relates to a whole bunch of people in relation to their contest.
No magic in that. Okay. And there's no reason for anyone other than those people to potentially have those. Is Mr. Cooksall in those? Yes, he is. He's at page 281, line 14.
Yes.
All right, so in my position. In my position, my view, there should be disclosure of that part of that email relating to Mr. Cooksall.
Seeing his name at line 14.
Group B, line 14.
Yes.
Page 281.
I think that is unredacted. Yes.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Should have been. Oh, no, it is. 281, line 14 is. But what should be also unredacted is all the general information. Okay. Because otherwise Mr. Cooksall will quite rightly would think, what does this relate to? Clearly relates to me. What sort of document is it?
Okay. So page 279, the general information.
Yeah.
Sorry. 278 to 279 is the same document.
Yeah. 278 to 270 to 278 to 281, sorry, 278 to 282, again, should be redacted to the extent that it relates generally or specifically to Mr. Cooksall.
Unredacted.
Unredacted, thank you. Thank you. All right. All it is just a general email about the contest mentions. Mr. Cooksall, so.
Yeah.
Again, somewhat pointless redacting it in the first place, because it just creates an impression to you that there might be something that's important or relevant, especially when your name was the only bit that was unredacted. Anyone looking at that would wanted to know why your name was there would seek unredaction.
Okay.
All right, 283. The bottom half is that, again, relates to the investigation and the prosecution. The provision of materials should not have been redacted, and I ordered that it be unredacted.
So, it continues to.
283, yes, 284. Again, that shouldn't be. It also covers 284. And I lose my voice with this. Hang on. 284 again, 284 through to 287, the same position. It's a group email, recontest mentions that. Where it's of specific or general relevance to Mr. Cooksall, it should be unredacted.
May I point something out to Your Honor? So, they were emails that were disclosed, and they showed communication with witnesses in relation to whom I was.
Okay, but this isn't that. This is just literally a general. This is what the informants who have these matters need to do, generally, etc. Okay. So, to the extent that it relates to a whole bunch of people other than you, it's of no relevance to the extent that it relates to you. It's relevant because there are instructions as to what should be done. All right.
284 to 287.
284 to 287. Again, some common sense has to be applied by the VGSO. All right, page 288. Who decided this should be redacted?
Partial lifting of it.
Was there all right? Maybe I missed it. Maybe I am wrong.
I've not looked at the.
Well, the part that's redacted seems to be the part that's absolutely clear. I mean, it's a request for a statement. It's part of the investigation. I really wonder if whoever was the person at VGSO looking at this had any idea as to what their obligations were at all.
The data management unit provide the instructions to VGSO. That's who's providing.
The data management unit from VicPol?
Yes, that's who's providing me the instructions.
Okay. Through the VGSO.
Through the VGSO. So, there's another step in fairness to them.
So, my rage should go to the data management unit. Maybe the VGSO. It's not aimed at you and it's not aimed at the informant. All right.
288 to 289, unredact, disclose.
All right, 290 again.
Sorry, 280.
288 to 289, 290, same point. It's just extraordinary that that's been unredacted. Sorry, that's been redacted. And I order that it be unredacted. Page 290.
That goes on to 291.
Well, no, the redaction in 290 is one section, which now my iPad is getting annoyed with it. So, the top half, which is 290, should be unredacted. The part that goes from the bottom of 290 to 291, that also should be unredacted. The incident is meant to occur on the 19th of March 2019, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. So, this is an email again. This email says this in relation to the arrest of Mr. Kuxel. Can I please get a statement from all of you in relation to the incident as soon as possible, and goes on to talk about, can your statements please detail, etc. What possible basis would there be to redact this? It astounds me when it's literally the process of obtaining statements in relation to witnesses who are going to be called to give evidence. Anyway, all right, page 292, all of it's redacted. Yes. And it's again related to the provision of the statements when they were provided, what time, etc. Some of this material might actually help the Crown. I mean, that's the ridiculous thing about redacting it. Page 293 might not help them either. Again, it's also inconsistent as counsel. No doubt note that, at 293 we've got someone sending their statement that's not redacted, but the request for that statement is redacted. All right, so page 293, it's just a repeat, but that should be disclosed. Same basis, page 294, to the extent that it identifies who sent the email, should be disclosed subject to personal details being removed. Okay. Page 307 to 309, I don't think that that's of any relevance.
May I ask what was this about?
Seems that the footage was sent to the wrong prosecutor, who said, I'm not the correct prosecutor. So, it's of no relevance to anything.
All right, Your Honor. What footage was sent? The non-provision of footage is.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I know, but Mr. Kuxel makes the point, it can demonstrate what footage was held at what time. As I understand it, there's been an issue in this case that Mr. Kuxel has sought footage and says that he hasn't been provided with the entirety of the footage.
Your Honor, it said that the footage, it's inexplicable where it's gone.
That's the VCAT footage. Is there an issue in relation to body-worn camera footage?
Yes, Your Honor. Not all people have provided footage, and there is muting and
usually muting at the start, but that's okay. I've myself, in years gone by, thought that that was some sort of conspiracy, but turns out that it often. Anyway, I understand your point. Okay, I understand your point.
Footage that has been disclosed. There were 2 members with body-worn camera footage. It's just a mistake.
Yeah, I know that, but the point that's being made is this, isn't it? Mr. Kuxel says, rightly or wrongly, I think that there's body-worn camera footage that's missing. Okay. Anything that reflects on the body-worn camera footage can have relevance. Let's say, I'm not saying this is the case, but let's say that there was an email from the informant to a superior officer earlier on in the proceedings, in the investigation. And I'm not saying this is the case. Attaching footage, wouldn't that be relevant to the question as to what that footage was? It would be, wouldn't it? Yeah, potentially it is. I mean, I've had this situation before where it turned out that there were different versions, various versions of statements, and the only way we found out was because they were being sent in an email and they've never been disclosed. All right. I'm satisfied that pages 307 to 309 should be disclosed.
(307 to 310).
307 to 310. Yes. With personal details to be redacted. 311 relates to the compiling of the brief and when it was compiled. That should be not. That should be disclosed.
311 to be disclosed.
Yeah. 311, 312, again, counsel is aware the informant being on leave can be a highly relevant thing. It's been my experience that I have sought to cross-examine people about why things weren't done over certain time frames, only to discover that the person was in fact on leave, and there was a perfect explanation for why it wasn't done. So, it's clearly relevant. And again, it might help the prosecution if there's an issue taken that, well, you know, this wasn't done. Why wasn't it done? Could have been done, etc. All right, 314 to 320. Do you want to get instructions in relation to that? All right, 333 to 335 relates to the BWC footage and the provision of it to the prosecution. It should be disclosed. It falls within the orders of Magistrate Lawrence with no proper basis for redaction. It's also true in relation to 336 to 338. 339 to 342, again, is group email in relation to contest mentions should be disclosed. Again, but not, there should be no disclosure in relation to other people that were the sub or cases, not Mr. Cooksall, that were.
339 to
339 to 342. That's 343. Yeah. You want to turn your mind to that?
343?
343, no, I haven't made a ruling yet. I'm asking the counsel as to what, if any, submission is going to be in relation to it.
Might just take that on notice, Your Honor.
Yeah. All right. You'll get instructions in relation to that? All right. 345 is in the same category. 347 to 357 I would imagine you'd be seeking instructions in relation to that. Is that right? Yeah. 361 seems to relate to the brief and disclosure brief, etc. So, I think it's well within the purview of the orders. Shouldn't have been redacted, so order that it be disclosed. All right. 362 was that material that was provided in error? I've already ruled in relation to that, so I ordered that it be disclosed subject to the appropriate redaction as to personal details.
367 and 368 are different.
They should be disclosed as well. Relates to witness, doesn't it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah. All right. That should be disclosed as well. 371 is all personal details, isn't it?
Unrelated people?
Unrelated people, no? That's fine. So, 377 to 379. I've got, should be released, it relates to obtaining of witnesses for the hearing. Again, it's not hard to imagine how these documents maybe take on great relevance in the case. Was someone subpoenaed? When was it sought that they attend, etc.? Are they truly unavailable? 380 to 381 that should also be released. Relates to a witness in relation to their giving evidence. Yeah, 380 to 381. I say that because of cross-examining witnesses in relation to emails that they've sent about their giving of evidence and whether they're going to be required to give evidence, and etc.
Does it go until 383?
382, that seems to be just irrelevant. So, that reduction can remain.
Which part, Your Honor?
You can have the email. The email caution. Yeah. 382 doesn't relate to anything of any relevance and just has personal information that's of no relevance. This matter relates to the 19th of March, doesn't it?
Yes, Your Honor.
The matter that's been unredacted has been the 14th of March, and the bit that's been redacted is the 19th March.
They're not the accused being arrested. I'm just getting instructions on what it relates to.
Well, it's clearly related to the incident, so I'm ordering that it be disclosed. Might have been on stronger ground in relation to the matter that actually wasn't that day, but that's not been redacted. And the bit that has been redacted relates to the, as I understand it, the allegation was that Mr. I don't know, allegation, may be a factor.
I was arrested.
Yeah. So, any reference to a PSO being arrested on the 19th of March is clearly relevant. All right, coming to the tail end. Before we get to the matters from which there needs to be instructions. 397 interactions with witnesses as to their availability. It falls within the
397, Your Honor. I read this differently.
right.
Supervisory? Supervisor?
As to the conduct of the investigation. This is not the case here. But imagine if you had a situation where you had a supervisor saying you're not doing the job properly. You haven't investigated it properly. Why haven't you followed up on so and so? Be highly relevant. Again, it falls well within the scope of the orders of Magistrate Lawrence shouldn't be redacted. That's 397 through to 403. 407 to 408. Let me see. Well, 407 to 408 is the good old redact, the email footer. Yeah. 448 to 4. For 50, again, that shouldn't be redacted. Relates to obtaining the transcript of the record of the interview. 448 to 4 to 450 should be disclosed. Okay. 473 to 476, footer. For 79, footer. 482 to 483, footer. For 85, footer. For 86, footer. For 87, footer. For 88, footer. For 89, footer. 490 to 501, all relates to obtaining of witnesses, I believe.
492 501.
Your Honor, I just missed that.
490 to 501.
490 to 501.
Falls within the orders of Magistrate Lawrence. There's no proper reason to reject it. Don't know to what extent it'll be of any use to anyone. But that's the same with 503 and 504 to 506. Continues to waste all our time. Alright, so what we're going to do, I've got a part heard matter that's listed at 2 o'clock, probably take about 15 minutes to half an hour. So, that gives a little bit of extra time. So, we'll come back, I think, in relation to this matter for the parties, not before 2:15, but you might have until 2:30. But just be around by 2:15. Hopefully that will allow some time to get instructions. Is that going to give you enough time to get instructions?
Start working through them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping your instructors already tried to get in touch with whoever's responsible. Yeah. Alright, so we'll return. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so I won't be in this court. So, look, what I might do, just out of an abundance of caution in terms of time, recognizing that instructions need to be obtained, is we will return in relation to this matter at 2:30, alright. Thank you.
Is the extracted advice in 417, which is a legal privilege claim?
Extracted advice, 417. That's the only PII claim.
The legal professional privilege.
No, that's it. Alright. But there's no other PII claims.
No other PII claims. I confirm. I've obtained written and phone instructions confirming that there are no claims.
Okay.
And if I can, at 220 to 256, there's a different suspect, and I'll just have to work out the pages.
220.
I'm going to have to go through the pages as there is a different suspect in relation to some of it. There is already a ruling on that.
I might be misunderstanding something, but
230 to 256 at first.
well, I'm familiar with the fact that there's a PII claim, obviously, in relation to 158 to 160.
Yes.
We haven't given that. There isn't going to be further PII claims, despite the fact that I've raised it and you've raised it with your instructors. Then I have to then go back to matters that are redacted on the basis that they are said to not be relevant.
Right then, so.
Yeah, go on. Sorry. So, the first was, as my recollection, 35 to 36, wasn't it?
Yes, so, to hopefully be helpful, there's no issue with that being provided subject to.
Hang on. Sorry. Thank you, though. But let me just. Trouble when one uses everything electronically. 35 to 36, yep, all right. That is now going to be disclosed by agreement subject, sorry.
Sorry. Your Honor, I'm just opening up the documents so I can also keep up.
Yeah. I can wait.
Okay. So starting from 40.
35 to 36.
35 to 56.
36, 35 to 36.
Yes, I am fine.
Okay. So, that will now be disclosed.
Subject to the personal information.
Being redacted. Okay.
I can make that clear. Any concessions are subject to personal information being redacted.
Yeah, well, personal information is dates of birth, phone numbers, the like. It's not names, it's not VP numbers either. All right. Is there an effort to maintain a suggestion that a VP number or V number is somehow personal information in relation to these matters?
I'll check, Your Honor, and get back to you. I don't believe so, but I will check.
There are many cases where the only way I could work out who made what entry is with the VP.
The VP number? Yes.
All right.
41.
41 to 44, you maintain the objection on the basis that it's of no relevance whatsoever.
No claims are to be made. It's a relevance argument only. It's a relevance argument only.
Yeah. All right. So, the point is that what was. When I go back to it, the order was made was that it was in relation to this matter. Yeah, okay. Mr. Cooksall, you wanted to address me in relation to this?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's the point? What's the point of, for instance, knowing your involvements with Victoria Police in relation to this matter? Sorry, rephrase it. Your other involvements with Victoria Police.
So, Your Honor, to make up for the morning, I've brought copies of authorities for.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine. That's lovely. I appreciate that. But the point is, don't take me to the authorities. Focus on what I'm asking you.
Sure.
How is it said to be relevant that you have been spoken to by the police on other occasions? This is not a process of simply get. It's not a freedom of information claim about everything you can possibly.
Absolutely.
Think of in relation to you, right?
Yep.
So, it has to have some bearing in relation to the matter with which we're dealing.
Sure.
Right. How's it relevant?
So, Your Honor, relevance is defined in Section 55.
I know how relevance is defined. You tell me how it is relevant, what basis you are going to use or potentially use this information. All right.
One of the core allegations that I have in this proceeding is that Victoria Police have been particularly targeting me and that there has been an abuse of the court's process for a couple of reasons. 1. Because the PSO Benning had, in fact, seriously assaulted me to the point of endangering my life on the day. And the notes of the sergeant, Sergeant Watson, had made reference to the fact that if I...
Hang on, drifting. Okay, now come back. Because what I'm asking you is not generally. I'm asking you about your other involvements with Victoria Police. That's what I want you to address in relation.
To show that Victoria Police has a very strong propensity to taking adverse action toward me, and there is a general animosity that's harbored by a number of members because I have previously taken strong steps against them, I've criticized them publicly. I have been responsible for publications against them, and then in one of the matters, Your Honor, the informant was speaking with my former partner to be the sole point of reception of privileged documents, to then distribute it to all other informants.
Yeah, okay, but again, we're just drifting because it's this document we're talking about. There might be other documents that fall within the scope of what you're saying. So, as I understand it, you're saying this because you've had numerous involvements with Victoria Police. You're going to rely upon the fact of those numerous involvements in order to demonstrate that there is a conspiracy against you.
Absolutely. I'm saying that the only reason why this proceeding is still on is because of the conspiracy. Because...
Sticking with this document, all right?
No, this proceeding. The only reason why this proceeding is...
No, I'm sticking with this document.
In this proceeding, I'm going to seek a permanent stay.
Understand that. I have read your email. I understand. At the moment, I am going back and I'm focusing on this issue.
But, Your Honor, the authorities are clear that the court is not best positioned to make the determination about how I can possibly use this, because the court will not have all the factual knowledge. I may be able to identify a third person who was mentioned in the email, because that third person comes up.
Not an email. This is, look at the document. Look at the document in front of you. Look at what it is. All right?
Is this a police? So, Your Honor, one of the allegations.
This is your contacts, right? This is your involvement. I am not, I don't think revealing anything that's particularly sensitive.
Yes, this is why.
So, that every time when a person is involved with police as a victim or otherwise, those involvements are recorded. Okay? And as I understand your argument is this, you want to be able to refer to those previous involvements to demonstrate that there is a
malicious prosecution.
Malicious prosecution because of these other involvements. That's relevant in relation to A. How what occurred happened. B. The investigation. And I'm assuming you're suggesting also that there's been some impropriety in the investigation.
Absolutely.
All right.
The other part, Your Honor, is that police records have been corrupted. There is evidence of that in this proceeding. So, on the day, because they wanted to destroy the evidence of the PSO choking me to a near-death state, the CCTV records were destroyed, and then...
Is it? I understand.
Entries were modified so they could match the doctored CCTV footage. But the problem was they could not.
Grab a seat. Counsel for VGSO. If he wants to run this argument, then that's upon Mr. Cooksall. I mean, if he wants to lead before a court. I have had all this trouble with the police, and I've been in trouble for this and trouble for that and all the rest. I mean, that's on him.
Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to release that material. That's going to be pages 41 to 46. Okay. All right. That's going to be unredacted. That doesn't have any reference, does it, to personal information in relation to people? No? All right, good. There you go, Mr. Cooksall.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes. 347 to 357.
No claim taken.
Right, no claim taken.
Subject to names.
Yes.
So, is it still? Your Honor, are the names in there related to the proceeding at all?
The recipients and persons that are sit in are, and they will. Anyone, that the understanding is that the names of anyone related to the proceeding. Everyone knows, everyone is on notice that Mr. Cooksall's position is that he was the subject of an assault, as I understand it.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that effectively, that there's been a form of cover-up. What's the word I'm looking for, Mr. Cooksall?
Malicious prosecution.
However you wish to suggest it, malicious prosecution against him. So, anything that bears upon the attitude of an informant in relation to the matter I think may be relevant. So. But it's the fact of being imparted with that information that's relevant, not that it's come from this person or that person, etc. All right, so that's 347 to 357.
And Your Honor, the police officer names will not be redacted, right?
Not the people that have been involved in this investigation or in relation to you.
But Your Honor, there were like 12 police officers that were brought into the VCAT building that day on the 19th March.
Yeah, again, I don't think these are any of those people.
But can we confirm that their names will not be redacted? Anyone who was at the VCAT building on?
Yeah, I think.
Or 14th March?
I think that's right. I mean, if it's a potential witness and there's a potential witness.
A potential witness.
Talking with. Say, another potential witness about what a horrible person Mr. Kuxel is, then it's clearly potentially wrong, understand? Because he might cross-examine them to say, you're making this up, or etc., because you've been told that I'm a terrible person.
All right, 14th and 19th March.
Yeah.
444 to 447. No issue with it being disclosed, save for some personal information and names, noting that some of these people, and nothing to do with this investigation, they're not relevant in any event.
Yeah.
Administrative, in detail.
Yes. All right. Same ruling.
Summons have been served, Your Honor.
Sorry?
So, Your Honor, on the 5th June when I had brought the matter up before the court.
Hang on, I know you're going to take us off. Let me just indicate what the position is. All right, so the Crown knows, as I understand it, Mr. Kuxel's position is going to be this. He's going to seek a stay, I'm not sure whether it's a permanent stay or a conditional stay, on the basis that those documents which he says exist have not been provided. All right? Might be other issues, Mr. Kuxel, but I'm correct in that? Yes?
Yes, so.
All right, good. Hang on. That's all right. Now. That's okay. Now, in relation to that, I am going to expect evidence. The evidence can be by affidavit as to whether. I've been told from the bar table those documents don't exist, but I want an affidavit in relation to inquiries that have been made, etc., whether the documents exist or they don't exist. All right?
In the hand-up brief?
Yes, yes. They are.
So the affidavit of.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Kuxel, you're not having a discussion backwards and forwards while I'm on the bench. Thanks. All right.
May I add one other relevant matter?
Well, hang on. I'm trying to set a timetable. Okay?
It's relevant to what Your Honor was talking about. So, in the additional material that was discovered, there was correspondence in relation to witness summons that were issued to people who had given statements, but who the court was advised have not in fact given statements. There were witness summons issued to Jerry Cronin and to his colleague. Now, these people were in charge of the VCAT CCTV footage. Jerry Cronin was the facilities manager. And he was the person who had authorized the copying of the CCTV footage data, and then his statement was not discovered, and in May 2022, Mr. Mayak instead affirmed a statutory declaration. Stating that people that were initially involved in the collection of VCAT CCTV evidence are no longer there, and he has been informed by someone that part of the altercation may have taken place in a.
See, what I'm doing in my hand. Because at the moment, what you're doing is this. There's a highway that goes from this point to what you want to tell me. What you want to do is take me on the long, lengthy, down the country road, kind of down the country lane way. So, just bring it back. What's the point of what you're telling me?
They're trying to hide evidence.
All right, so that's why you want the stay. Contempt, correct?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. All right, thanks. There we go.
Perversion of the course of justice.
Yeah.